Hello everyone, my name is Lauren Stolman and I will be presenting to you my project on location media given to us in our Principles of Mass Communications class at UNL. For this project we were told to pick 3 different restaurants and choose 5 different location media apps to download to our smartphones and to find information about each restaurant from each app and find a fun fact to deliver to you. The first restaurant that I chose was Yaya's Pizza and Beer, which is located in downtown Lincoln, Nebraska. The second restaurant that I chose was Billy's Restaurant, which is located on 13th and H, which is basically downtown Lincoln. And the last restaurant that I chose was Fireworks Restaurant, which is located in the southeast portion of Lincoln, so like Old Cheney. The 5 location media apps that I chose was Urban Spoon, Yelp, Foursquare, Restaurant Finder, and Facebook. So Urban Spoon, what it specifically tells about each restaurant is typically the address, the phone number, when they're open, the percentage of people who will admit to liking the restaurant that they went to, the menu, the popular dishes that the restaurant has, and reviews that people choose to leave. Urban Spoon also shows you the places that are nearest to your location according to the GPS on your phone specifically, and you are also able to search for restaurants according to the particular cuisine that you're wanting to have. So if you were to choose some kind of Italian dish, you would scroll to Italian and hit search, and it would show you all of the Italian restaurants that were in your area. What I found about the 3 different restaurants that I chose, I found that Yaya's is vegan friendly, which is obviously something very important that you would want to know about the restaurant you would go to, because you wouldn't want to go there and have food that you were choosing not to eat. Billy's Restaurant, I found that the most popular dishes are the Reuben and butternut squash soup, which is something I've never heard of, so I thought it was a particularly interesting fact and that was the most popular dish. I found that Fireworks Restaurant's cuisine is listed to be American, international, and gastropub, so basically like a cafe, burger joint kind of restaurant. The second location media app, Restaurant Finder, what it typically tells about each restaurant is the address, when they're open, the average price of the meals there, and reviews that people would choose to leave, and pictures. You can search for your restaurant by location, or you could type in the name. And Restaurant Finder actually allows you to search for different restaurants for takeout, for delivery, for bars, for galleries, for hospitals even. So it's not just a restaurant finder. You can find many different locations with this app, and you are able to save your favorite places so you can quickly go back to them and find what it is you liked about them and find the address, phone number, etc. So Restaurant Finder, the fun facts that I found about my restaurants was that Yaya's has a very large selection of craft beers available, and I know that not all restaurants do that, so that would be a very good thing to know if that was something that you were interested in having for your dinner. Billy's Restaurant, I found this very interesting. The restaurant is actually a historic Victorian house that the man renovated and created his restaurant from. Fireworks Restaurant was reviewed to be the perfect place to take your family, and that is something extremely vital to know, because you wouldn't want to take your kids to somewhere that they would not enjoy, or the scene wasn't for you, or the food has to be also according to children as well. The third location media app that I chose was Yelp, and what they typically say about each restaurant, the facts they have, are address, the phone number, if the restaurant has delivery, or if you are able to call in and make reservations. It actually tells you the average noise level of the restaurant. They tell you how you are to park when you go there. They actually tell you if there's a television and if it's wheelchair accessible or not. So on Yelp, on the homepage, you are able to search for restaurants, bars, coffee shops, gas stations, etc., that are nearest to your location, and it shows you ratings and reviews of each location as well as pictures. So the facts that I found on Yelp with my restaurants was that Yaya's has a hipster ambience, and that is something that I didn't know you were able to classify a restaurant as, so that was interesting for me to find out. I found that Billy's restaurant is not good for kids. It's more of a romantic scene where you go on your date, it's quiet, and it's very more intimate um, situation. Fireworks restaurant has a casual ambience with an average noise level. So from that, I basically found that Billy's and Fireworks, while they might have the same American style food, the ambience is very opposite, and one you should take your family to, and the other you probably should not. Foursquare, the fourth location media app that I chose, it typically tells you about every restaurant, the address, the phone number, the menu. It'll tell you the distance the restaurant is from in minutes or miles. You can find when they're open and different ratings of the restaurant. You're able to search for locations that are nearest to you according to food, which you could find breakfast, lunch, or dinner, coffee shops, nightlife such as bars, sightseeing, shopping, so it's a very great variety of locations. You are able to see who has checked into the location, so when you were to go to a location using Foursquare, you can check in claiming that you've been at that location and you are viable to give reviews about it. And if you've been there enough, you can be deemed as a king or queen of Foursquare, of the location on Foursquare, which is a more fun thing to add to the app, I think. So Foursquare, what they had to say about the restaurants. I found that Yaya's is good for a special occasion, such as a birthday party or a small gathering for a graduation celebration, something like that. I found that Billy's restaurant, according to where I was at work, it was a 6-minute drive away from me. And I found that Fireworks Restaurant is known for their notable service and value, and that's something you would always want to have in a restaurant because you wouldn't want to go somewhere where the service was poor, obviously, or the food was bad. So, the third last location media app that I chose was Facebook, and it told me the address, the phone number, the hours of service, the average price of the food, the parking, the payment options, and different reviews of the restaurant, which were the comments that people made on the pages. Facebook allows restaurants to look more appealing to people because of how many likes it will get. Also, it helps if someone sees that their family or friend likes this restaurant because you are more trustworthy of that person, so you will want to go to that place. And Facebook also offers the owner or a chef or manager to put a summary of the restaurant. So, what I found about facts of the restaurants, Facebook, they said that Yaya's, the parking is on the street, and that's something that I thought was very informative because I like to know wherever I'm going if I need to bring quarters for a meter or some extra money for a parking garage. I found that Billy's restaurant, the owner also caters, so that's a very interesting thing to know if you would like that. And Fireworks Restaurant is located next to a bike trail, which I thought was a very interesting thing to add to the description of the restaurant, but it could be something very knowledgeable for a person to know if they were maybe riding their bike and wanted to stop and get a little bite to eat after we're done. So, after all of this, the restaurant that I chose to end up going to was Fireworks Restaurant. I just thought that every app that I looked at had very good things to say about fireworks, and that the kind of food that I wanted was there, and that because the style and the ambience of the restaurant was very casual, I liked that idea rather than being quiet or anything, and it's very close to where I live actually. So, after all of my reviews of that, my favorite app was Foursquare. I thought that while it was very informative and told me specific things that I felt that I needed to know, it didn't overdo the information to which I felt like it was kind of just putting it there for me to see, and it wasn't not telling me enough. So I found everything that I wanted to know and a little bit more, and I thought that it was fun that they added the whole checking in thing because it just makes it kind of a fun thing to do on the app. So thank you very much for listening to my location media project.